Dynamite is back. We got Darby Allin defending his brand new AEW Men's World Championship against Tommaso Ciampa. MJF is super pissed about it. Plus, Will Ospreay faces off against Mark Davis. Samoa Joe returns. And the Mets actually won a game.
The real reason we're starting so late tonight.
Actually, it ended the same time as Darby pinned Ciampa. So there you go. Let's start this now instead.
Uh-oh.
Yes, boy!
French toast is the exchange student that you have like a 3-week affair with.
Fake. We can see that you don't have pants on.
Somebody hit somebody with a pie. Do something.
Giovanni yelling we're out of time as we go off the air.
Giovanni yelling a lot of things tonight.
And welcome to the Mark It Down podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Mark It Down podcast. My name is Nick Cummings, joined this week by James Asante. Back here once again to review another episode of AEW Dynamite. Obviously, our first one with our brand new AEW Men's World Champion, Darby Allin.
It's still surreal to me. I don't know about you, but it still feels like, wow, he did it. He's actually champ.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. And that kind of was helped as we say hello to Fernando. What's going on, dude?
Good.
Helped along by the recap package that we had at the start of the show, which is actually where we are going to start. Not just a recap package, but what happened immediately after. And I know Darby had a defense tonight, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But this did help set up what happened later. So we did want to talk about MJF coming out immediately following that promo package, heated as all hell, coming down to the ring in full gear, saying that last week will forever be known as the Seattle Screwjob. He says that 3 days before last Wednesday, he wrestled an all-out war against Kenny Omega. Then he went dark, showed up 3 days later, wrestled a match he knew nothing about, got hit in the nuts, that, and I quote here, skank, unquote, Aubrey Edwards did a fast count, and his shoulders were up. So therefore,
we do not believe Aubrey Edwards is a skank here at the Mark It Down podcast. Should be noted.
Yes, those are not our opinions. But because of all of that, Darby Allin to MJF is a cheat. Max questions if anyone actually thinks Darby could beat him straight up or if he was 100%, reminding us that he has beat every top name, including Darby, that he is the man who made Hangman no longer be able to challenge for the AEW World Championship, and the man who kicked out of the one-winged angel like it was nothing.
I hate him. I hate him.
So Max calls out Darby, telling him that he doesn't care about his main event match against the Psycho Killer. Saying he should get his ass out here and give him back his title. And instead of Darby, MJF gets Kevin Knight, who's also in full gear. And Knight comes down, says it might be a new city, but we have the same old Max whining like a little bitch. Kevin then gasses himself up a little bit, saying that the Jet looks real clean with the TNT Championship around his waist. And while MJF might want a rematch against Darby, and he's talking about how he got cheated, if anyone got cheated, it was Knight when he went up against MJF, as he had Max pinned for a long while before that count was actually made. Otherwise, he says he would be Jet 2 belts right now. MJF retorts by mocking everything Knight just said. Just because of the way Knight delivered it, it was kind of easy.
It was a little awkward. It was a little like, if I'm a heel, I would do it too.
Fair enough. And then he also says that if memory serves him right, he beat Knight with a heat seeker for an easy dub. So the only person who deserves to be AEW right now is him. Max then gives Knight some credit for being TNT champion, saying the belt suits him because he's a workhorse, a good hand, an average Joe, someone with a ceiling, someone who will never be AEW world champion, someone who should know better than to step into MJF's ring and breathe his air, someone who should know better than to have his AEW World Championship come out his mouth. Knight then says he's going to have to slap that big nose off the MJF's face, saying everyone knows that the Jet is gold. As for the TNT Championship, it's been held by some of the best wrestlers in the world, so it's no surprise that MJF's never held it before. Knight then decides that he should keep the tradition going that MJF gets handed everything to him by handing him an ass whooping. And MJF says that there is no reason for him to wrestle Kevin since he's already proved that he's better than him. But the way Knight's been talking about that TNT Championship, kind of makes Max want it a little bit. So Knight's like, all right, fine, we could do this, me versus you for the TNT Championship right now. MJF agrees. Bryce Remsburg comes down to the ring, and it looks like we're going to get this. And as they square off, MJF takes the mic and rolls out of the ring and tells Knight that he'll be seeing him next week. And then after the segment after, Tony Khan announces officially that match will be happening on Dynamite next week.
Interesting, right? Because it's like
very interesting.
MJF losing a second title match in a row would be pretty nuts. Kevin Knight also shouldn't lose the TNT title this soon either.
Agreed.
But I don't know, bro. That there's a lot of potential with how they move forward with this story. And we've been I know I'm getting ahead of myself here, but I've learned to never bet against Max ever. This guy will find a way to win. What if he does win the TNT title and then wins the AEW title back from Darby? What if they unify those belts? They have too many mid-card titles. Like the TNT title is not the workhorse belt that they're pretending it is. It's not.
It was, and I get what you're saying about them having too many titles, but of all the titles to essentially get rid of, I think the TNT would be one of the last ones they do because of the corporate partnership, they have with Turner.
But let's talk about that. How much longer will Turner exist anyway?
That's a decent question.
How much longer will they be on that network? We don't know these answers because there is so much going on in the corporate world regarding streaming and television and ownership of different assets. But there is a very real possibility the TNT and TBS titles will not make sense in a year or two.
Fair. And I think, obviously, if that happens, you either have to rename them to whatever your new, TV partner is, or they just go to being the television title.
Or you get, I'm not necessarily, clamoring that you get rid of them, but that would have made sense in an era where we didn't have the national title, the continental title, the international title. We have 3 other mid-card titles right now. You don't necessarily need to keep that title going.
I also think that the TNT is one that they probably keep around because it's one of the 3 original titles.
I could see it, but I don't know. There's a part of me that, again, I'm thinking ahead of myself. 1, MJF needs to win the title. 2, MJF would need to get a title shot at Darby. 3, and let's be honest too, that was one of the big things that Darby said, and we're going to talk about it. But Darby wants collateral.
Mm-hmm. I can think of a certain stipulation that has come up before.
Let's talk about it. Let's keep going.
Yep. In the meantime, though, I thought this obviously good promo from MJF. Knight did okay. I think he got taken apart by MJF, but he has a certain type of delivery, and I think it's easy for Max to make fun of him for that. But I still kind of like it. It feels authentic.
It feels authentic because you could tell it's a guy talking. And I've talked about this at length. I don't think there is necessarily a right way versus a wrong way of cutting a promo, but there are poor deliveries. And I do think his delivery was just a little poor. And MJF is a vulture. He's going to pick at that, He's flying overhead, waiting for you to make a mistake. IRL, like by all accounts, MJF's a good guy in real life from what we've heard. And, he's a good team player. But when he's on that mic, when he's holding that microphone, he's going to attack. And if you give him the shot, he's going to take it, and he took it. So I can't be mad at MJF for doing it. Knight, he's getting a lot more promo time this last month, 2 months. A lot more promo time. Going from not really having any promo time before that. So give it time for him to warm up and feel more natural behind it. I also do think, because we're circling the heel turn, in my opinion. I think if he does lose it to Max next week, we're hitting the speed button. Not the speedball button, but we're hitting the speed button on that. And I think the heel turn will come, and I think he'll be way more comfortable with the stick in his hand.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I'm so curious to see how this ends up next week, because there is Speedball.
Yep.
I honestly thought Speedball was going to come down here and keep Knight from allowing Max to manipulate him into this challenge.
See, but the thing is, I don't think Max really manipulated him. Kevin Knight came out looking for a fight. Like, it's one thing if MJF was because I rhymed.
No, I dropped something.
Okay.
I was just laughing at the fact they dropped it.
Like, it's one thing if Kevin Knight had nothing to do with anything and MJF called him out and he was like, fine, I'll defend the title. That's a little bit of manipulation. Kevin Knight interrupted him. Kevin Knight was the one who brought up the TNT title and how MJF never had it. That's him offering himself on a silver platter. So I'm all for where this could go for both of these guys. And the more we're talking now, the more I'm convinced MJF is winning next week.
It's definitely possible. Maybe manipulated is not the word I'm looking for, but I thought Speedball might be like, just don't play his games.
Yeah.
Like they're so dumb, because play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Or in this case, lose your prize being the TNT championship.
No,
but
for sure.
There's still a possibility he gets involved next week.
Yeah.
And either way, I'm so curious to see where this goes. It's very interesting what Tony has decided to do here. Before we move on, I want to quickly hit some of the comments. I know there's a couple of others that I'm going to skip. We're going to get back to them later when we in a bit when we cover the actual main events.
We hear you. We appreciate you.
Yeah, as we say hello to You Know It, who's asking us if we sell his information. So we don't.
If we are selling his information online,
Yeah.
Can we give him some of that money back so he can afford a beer? We are not, to our knowledge. I don't know what YouTube does.
I'm sure YouTube probably is, but we don't see a nickel of that. We just get money because you guys are so
Awesome.
courteous to view us. Trust me, we would love beer money too, and we loved beer money. Also saying hello to Maria. What's going on? I believe this was talking about WB. I'm not sure in terms of us having the double subscriptions and the fees. We're not doubling any fees.
Title. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, it's true. It's absolutely true.
And Fernando also saying Kevin Knight had no business being out there. Now, I think part of why this works is kayfabe really had no business being out there, the same way he had no business being out there last time. These two squared off in a promo battle and then eventually had their match, I think, both of which happened on Collision. But the only way you're going to build up new people is if you send guys out there sometimes who don't have who have any business being out there.
I think that's the importance of this too. And sorry to step on what you were saying, but I'm building off of it.
Yeah, we're going the same way.
So many segments tonight, in some roundabout way, had to do with the World Championship. We have two guys here who are both vying for it, a former champion and a current mid-card champion. We had a former champion return tonight, and all commentary could say was he's trying to figure out his way to get to the title.
Yep.
We had a title match. We had another guy who was, as soon as he wrestled his match, said that his intentions are to come for the world title. And then at the end of the night, he collected on that by coming face to face with the champion. So, it's so great to see that legitimately there is a top prize in AEW. there's one top prize that even if you're holding a secondary prize, you still want to climb the mountain and climb higher. And it's not one of those things that we're seeing people take their turn, wait their turn. Somebody else challenged for the title. I guess I can't win it this month. Like, no, multiple people want the world title right now. That's the way it should be in any and every company. So I loved how this played out. Knight, who has continued to show the chip on his shoulder. Knight, who continues to show that he might be biting off more than he can chew, but he's going to keep pushing. He's going to keep biting. So I agree with you. Kevin Knight, where he ranks right now, probably has no business being out there next to MJF. But in a company that is so focused on the world title, everybody should be interrupting MJF. No, bro. You go to the back of the line. You just lost the title. It's my turn now. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I agree with that a lot. And Knight, obviously he tried to make his claim. And you look at his character, since the Swerve match, and even with that, he has been so cocky and overconfident that I'm not surprised he's doing these things. And I'm a little surprised that they are, putting him in a position to possibly lose the TNT title so quickly. But I always kind of figured that at some point his overconfidence was going to burn him.
Yep.
He hasn't
all
really
good
had,
heels do.
Yeah, he hasn't really had any adversity in recent weeks outside of losing the trios titles, but that was Speedball who took the pin. So
both times are because the first time he lost, he was the one who lost them.
Yeah, so that's fair. But the latest time, as his swagger and his confidence has continued to grow, it was Speedball's fault. So now he's thinking himself untouchable, So, and I could see him going out there and he's being overconfident to go, yes, he has no business, but he can't see that. Yeah, I
that was 2 Cena references in a row. Damn.
And that's what's gonna happen. He's probably gonna get his ass kicked next week because a lot like what happened with Swerve. He's going to borrow your phrase, bite off more than he could chew, and end up in a bad position. But that will lead to, as Maria said, heel mode Kevin Knight. It's saying that his 2 cents on Knight is he needs to stop smiling so much. It's okay to be a little pissed.
So
that'll change, I think, as he turns more heel.
I'd also like to say, as somebody with firsthand experience with people like Knight, I went to school with a lot of guys like Knight, that no matter what is said to them, no matter what heat is being thrown at them, they continue to smile and chuckle and not take things seriously because, one, that's their defense mechanism, and 2, it's how they think they're getting under the skin of their opponents or the person that they're, beefing with.
Yeah.
So I get what you're saying, but this is a guy who's very clearly, I think they're telling a beautiful story about a guy who's expressing he's more confident than he actually is. I think he's not trying to just prove to everybody who he could be and what he could be. I think he's trying to prove it to himself too. So I get what you're saying, but know that it's a facade. It's not Finn Balor smiling. I'm wearing a mask that has a smile on it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I agree with you with that. Maria's saying MJF is not the champion. He interrupted the wrong guy.
I got to disagree with Maria here.
I do think a win over MJF is a good way to perhaps earn yourself a title opportunity. And considering Knight's previous beef with MJF, it makes sense that he would go that route. Because I think he realizes that he needs a win, or at least another win, before he can possibly challenge Darby the same way. Although he did call out the champ last week.
Yeah.
After a win. So,
and let's also acknowledge MJF opened the show. MJF started the show interrupting all the proceedings by saying, I want my title match right now. Darby, I don't care what you're doing in the main event. We're doing this right now. Kevin Knight needed to interrupt the interrupter. He needed to say the line doesn't start with you. He needed to say, behind me, bro. And sure, Brody made it clear he was going for the champion and then confronted the champion. But somebody needed to confront the guy who thought that he could make all the rules. So I get what you're saying, but somebody was going to have to do it.
And as we saw with Darby, which we'll get to in a second, it's not going to be him. He's just going to keep telling Max no and ignore him. So,
which I love.
Yeah. Rio's saying she doesn't think Knight is going to lose next week because of shenanigans. I could possibly see that. I think there's going to have to be a lot of shenanigans, but losing streak MJF would be interesting. Well, 2 is back-to-back. 3 is a streak.
Hey, Farva, what is that place you like to eat that has the mozzarella sticks and all the stuff on the walls?
All the funny shit on the walls and the mozzarella sticks. Oh, you mean shenanigans?
Oh!
Talk about shenanigans, right?
Great movie.
You know, make the 3rd one?
3! I know. I'm so excited.
All right, let's continue along here because I do want to get to the main event quickly, but we had a backstage interview with the challenger, Tommaso Ciampa, in the middle of the episode, where Renee Paquette asked him about how it's his first time going at the AEW World Championship and how he thinks it's going to go. And Ciampa responds that he has been told his entire career what he is not. He's not big enough. He doesn't pass the airport test. He isn't charismatic. He's not a main eventer. But what he says he is a husband and a father and somebody with an unbelievable work ethic. So what tonight is about is professional wrestling as he battles for the greatest prize in our sport. And he asks Darby Allin if Darby wants it more than he needs it. That then led to right before the main event, unless you would like to.
Can I just take a quick side note moment
about this? Sure.
Quick side note, not about the promo, but I just needed to say, because the airport test was something that really stuck with me. I thought that was a great line about, I'm not the guy you're going to recognize at the airport. I love that bit. As you guys know, I went to WrestleMania this weekend with Rev's cousin, Daniel. And of course, I had to bring Papa G with me.
Papa G.
We went to WrestleCon before WrestleMania on Sunday. Granted, we got there 10 minutes before WrestleCon ended, but we met a lot of people in those 10 minutes. One of the people we did get to meet was Ciampa. And my dad, I've dragged him to a lot of wrestling events over the years. I've dragged him to a lot of wrestle conventions over the years. He's met people. He gets excited for people, but there was nobody that he was like clamoring, chomping at the bit that he wanted to meet at WrestleCon this year. When we saw Ciampa, this was the most my dad lit up the entire at WrestleCon. He went up to him, he shook his hand, and he says, I need you to know, like, we were all gushing over him, but he goes to Ciampa and he says, you are an artist in the ring, and what you do is incredible. And I hope Tommaso knows how beloved he is, because beyond just a showing like tonight, which was incredible, he's had, I'm pretty sure at this point, literally decades of great performances. So bravo to Tommaso. It was a great night. And I heard a little bit about what's to come for him. So we'll talk privately. Yeah.
Much like you, Fernando thought that was an excellent line with the airport test. And I'll just say on my part, I believe, if I have my timeline correctly, my first NXT show was the main event with Gargano and Ciampa, where they ripped the ring up.
God damn.
I don't remember which very incredibly violent match that was. It might have been the unsanctioned.
Yeah.
But I know it closed because, like I meant, they tore the ring up. Maybe it was Last Man Standing, because I kind of remember it ending on the stage.
Yeah, I think so too.
It was in Brooklyn. Whichever one was in Brooklyn, they murdered each other, and it was awesome.
I straight up told him the night he betrayed Gargano, I was the only person cheering for him.
Bald-headed fuck.
That was one of the best running gags on Reddit ever.
I loved when he came back and when he just turned on Briscoe. Everyone was like, "Are we having another fuck that bald-headed fuck party again?" I was like, "Let's go, we're back." But honestly, it's been really nice seeing him here in AEW. I know he hasn't gotten all of the wins, but I think I mentioned this when it happened. Him coming in, winning the TNT title was awesome. Yeah. I know he lost it pretty quickly, but he's put on great matches since and including tonight. So he's
He
been on
just-
a tear.
It's like I said last Wednesday. I believe that he has shown that he fits.
Yes.
I believe that he has shown that he belongs. But he needs a big win over a top level talent to make me fully believe he deserves to be in the main event scene. Now, again, tonight was phenomenal. Phenomenal. But I need to see him beat a main eventer to truly sell, all right, this guy belongs in the main event and not just visiting.
Yeah. Then fair. And that's going to be one of those things where, like, it's so fluid, the main event right now, where he could beat somebody, but we're going to have to see who it is, you know? Because, like, in a vacuum, I could see him beating a dude like Samoa Joe, who we'll talk about later, but Joe just came back, so I don't see that happening.
In a vacuum. I think his best would be Brody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And him versus Brody would slap.
Yeah.
They should do that in 2 weeks, actually. Assuming Darby wins next week, they should do that match. You know, the two guys who just lost to Darby face off against each other. Just let them kill each other.
Yep. Big time.
All right. Moving on, just a couple more things before we get to that main event. We had the video package for Darby Allin, which I really liked. With I Gotta Be Me playing under it. It was basically a recap of his whole career in AEW and his life leading up to and including his championship win last week. And then before our main event, we got an in-ring promo from Darby. So he comes down after being introduced by one Tony Schiavone. There was a long ovation, a "You deserve it" chant, and then an emotional Darby tells everyone that this took everything. He says that he had his first match in Portland, which is where they were tonight, before mentioning that he didn't think of what he was going to say because it can all just end when Ciampa comes out in a couple of minutes. But he says that's the thing. This is just the 15-minute ride. And he's seeing what this title can do to people and what it could do to their egos and how it can grow them. And he doesn't want that. So he makes a point that this title run isn't for him. It's for his parents, who he helped be able to retire. It's for his fiance, who he met on the school bus. Congratulations to them. I didn't know he was engaged. It's for the Sherpas who helped him to the top of Mount Everest. And it's for all of the people.
That's us.
Yep. Because, he says, when his 15 minutes are up, he wants to look in the mirror and be able to recognize the person that's looking back at him. The "You deserve a" chance then kind of start again, but they immediately get interrupted by a still irate MJF, who comes out yelling, "No, no, 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 no. I can't believe you are giving him no, "You deserve a" chance. No, 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 no." And then he demands that Darby give him back his titles. Darby replies with a singular no. And then Max is like, "Okay, fine. Give me my rematch right now." And Darby again says no. So Max starts to flip out, and Darby's like, "I'm not giving you your rematch until you put up something, you put something on the line, because everyone in the match, everyone else in the back deserves a match more than him." So that's what Darby says he's going to do. He's going to put his body on the line every single week until it gives out, starting with Tommaso Ciampa, so Max can get the hell out of his ring. Ciampa's music then hits, and he starts to come down the ramp, but he gets stopped by MJF. And Max whispers something in his ear, and then Ciampa listens to him and then kind of looks at him and then kisses him on the cheek and restarts his walk back to the ring, leaving a very confused MJF to head to the back. So we kind of alluded to this already, James. I like the fact that Darby isn't going to let Max get his shot back unless he puts something up. And obviously, I think the biggest stipulation that has been thrown about recently, something that Max keeps bringing up, would be not being able to challenge again for the AEW World Championship.
Yep. I do think that's interesting. And I think it could be a good segue to getting Hangman back into the title picture. Like if MJF grants Hangman's ability to go for the title again, he can go for the title again. I think that would be pretty interesting. Ultimately, though, I do think it's going to be the TNT title. Because one, Darby has a big history with the TNT title. At one point, he said he never needed to win the world title because of how much he loves the TNT title. And it's I don't know. We'll see. lots of interesting ways to go.
Yeah, a lot of it, I think, like you mentioned, is going to depend on what MJF does next week in that TNT title match, how long they want to do this with Darby. I think we're kind of already seeing that with him defending tonight, him defending next week. We're probably going to see a lot of title defenses between now and Double or Nothing. And whether or not you think that's a good or bad thing, we'll get into in a minute, but that's how this title reign is going to go. And yeah, I don't know. We'll see. A couple of quick comments from here. It wasn't some other guy, the People's Champ. I don't remember who, though. I don't know. Something to do with Stones.
It's been a while.
No, not Stones.
Pebbles, I think.
Oh, yeah, it was maybe Pebbles.
Yeah.
Also, go figure Darby is a big Nancy Reagan fan. Just say no. I was wondering where you're going with that.
It was a great line. That was a great 1-2 punch there.
I was like, I didn't realize he was that big a fan ahead. And then I was like, oh, there's the second line. All right, that then leads us into our main event, which was Darby Allin facing off against Tommaso Ciampa for the AEW Men's World Championship. Banger. Absolute banger. I came into this, I was like, after that Ospreay Davis fight, they're really going to have to fight to be match of the night.
Yep.
Yeah, they got it. Not by a lot, but they got it.
They did.
I will just go through a couple of the bigger spots here. We had Ciampa catapult Darby neck first into the bar underneath the ring. That then led to them fighting to the other side of the ring, but Darby ended up getting the upper hand there. And he hit a crossbody from the top of the ring post onto Ciampa, who was seated on the barricade in front of the timekeeper's area.
It was fucking terrifying.
And Darby hit the crossbody, and they went into the timekeeper's area through the table. So then Darby got back in the ring, forced Ciampa to try to beat the 10 count. And here comes Ciampa crawling out in front of the announce desk. And before we even get a good look at Ciampa, we didn't even see it yet. Fucking Darby comes in with a Lope Suicida and just drives both of them in the announce desk. And then we finally see that Ciampa's head is just spider-webbed with blood.
It was, and it just kept coming.
Yeah. Too many Tylenol there, Tommaso. Darby then got Ciampa back in the ring and went up top, presumably for the coffin drop. But Ciampa used the referee as a distraction and then knocked Darby down by running into the ropes. The two then ended up in another corner where Ciampa pulled off the top turnbuckle pad as he was trying to fight out of a Scorpion Death Drop. And then after a bit of a battle back and forth, Darby was up top again, and Ciampa again ran into the ropes to knock him down. And then Ciampa went up to the top and hit a Psycho Driller from there to the floor as we headed into our second commercial break. And they made a point of it on commentary that the Psycho Driller there kind of screwed up Ciampa's hip.
Yep.
So a bit later, after Darby got out of a rear naked choke by flipping it into a pin and forcing Ciampa to kick out, Darby charged at Tommaso, but Ciampa sidestepped him and sent Darby into the exposed turnbuckle. Ciampa then hit the knee, but Darby kicked out. So Ciampa then hit Project Ciampa and then exposed his knee, hitting the knee strike, and Darby somehow kicked out again.
I was screaming in my living room.
I thought it was over. I did as well. Yep. I don't know if anyone's kicked out of the knee when he's exposed it, but either way, I thought this was Dunzo Caruto.
Yep.
Ciampa then decided it was in his best interest to taunt Darby by trying to get in a Scorpion Deathlock. Bad move. Darby fights out of it, and he gets in one of his own. Ciampa then continuously tries to fight to the ropes. He gets close. Darby pulls him back. He gets close again. Darby just sits down on him. He lays in some kicks and eventually pulls Ciampa back to the middle. And eventually, Ciampa is forced to tap out. After the match, then, Darby and Ciampa shake hands and kind of bow to each other. And then Ciampa puts the title on Darby's shoulder before leaving the ring. And as he does so, one Brody King comes to the ring with a microphone. And he helps Darby up. And then he says that he was serious when earlier in the night he said that he was proud of Darby. They spend countless nights talking about nights like this. And because of that, he just got done speaking with Tony Khan. And with Darby's permission, it'll be Darby Allin versus Brody King next week on Dynamite for the world title. Brody extends his hand, Darby accepts it and the challenge for next week, which is made official. So, James, as we just said, banger of a fucking match.
Banger of a match.
I think this is a very good argument against anybody who says Darby Allin is not a good technical wrestler.
He delivered on so many fronts. He gave us the Darby spots that are expected of him. He was going back and forth with Ciampa, who is undeniably one of the best wrestlers in the world. Like, whether or not he's your guy or not, that's fair. I think it's undeniable that this felt, and I say this in the best way possible, this felt like a black and gold match.
Ooh, yeah, good call.
Thank you. It was, if Ciampa was champion here and he was holding Goldie, I think this would fit in with any one of his defenses. I love this interaction between both men. I legitimately, after the second running knee, I thought that was it.
Oh yeah, is he gonna do this?
Yep. I was like, okay, they wanted the title change for Darby in Washington. They are ready to take the title off him already, and Ciampa doesn't feel like the guy, but he's the guy. Wow, we're doing it. And it was so well done.
I really honestly went to myself in the very quick moment where Ciampa was, in that pinfall attempt. I went, is he going to do it?
Yep.
And then I went, is Tony just going to hot potato the title in the second? Like to Ciampa, then to whoever else, and to whoever else, just to get some guys with their names on the title, and then Darby kicked. And I was just like, okay, maybe not. There was a split. Well, there was 2 seconds there where I was like, "What the fuck is Tony planning?"
I went into the night as always expecting, all right, Darby is going to retain. No, there's no way they change the title after a week.
Yeah.
But the best wrestling to me, I've said this before. I stand by it. I think the best wrestling is the wrestling that makes you forget. It makes you forget that this is scripted. It makes you forget that this is planned. It makes you forget what you're watching. And you're just watching two guys go at it, and you believe for a second. You believe that there's a chance. And that's what I got. That was the feeling I got while watching this match. Holy crap, Ciampa's going to win the title. And it didn't happen, obviously, but that didn't take away from that feeling. And I'm so grateful that I got that. It was such a fun, hard-hitting match. Beyond how great the match was itself, like that crossbody over the barricade was death-defying. It was awful in the best way. I don't know why I got a WTF, James. Did I do something? Was my camera wrong or something?
No,
I don't know what I did.
Good. Maybe because you said that wrestling is scripted.
I really loved the match. I thought it was a great showing from both guys. I love the finish with the sharpshooter where Darby,
the Scorpion
Deathlock. Fine, fair enough. Where Darby was struggling to lock it in. He never let go of Ciampa, but he couldn't lock it in. And it wasn't until he got him back in and locked it in
that
Ciampa tapped. So I love that. We've talked about this. I love technical wrestling. And I love when I see these guys struggling with a submission. Because usually I grew up seeing that the biggest struggle for a submission was, he's resisting a little bit. He's resisting it. And either they get in it or they get out. This is like, I'm fighting you to lock this in. Brian used to do that a lot, where he would beat people down until he could lock a submission in. And I thought this was a great struggle between two guys to keep that submission going. Loved it. Loved the match. Loved the finish. The stuff afterwards, I thought that was a great acknowledgement from Ciampa to Darby. Darby, he gave him his blessing after that win, and I thought that was great. I am a little sad because Ciampa had posted something on social media and it got talked about a little bit tonight. He has a weird distinction of winning a title the first time he challenges for it, like on multiple occasions.
Yeah, I think it was the NXT and the TNT, and I don't know what else.
It was two more. There were two more, and I can't remember.
Were any of the tag titles? Were NXT tag titles?
It's possible. It's possible, but
see if I can find it.
To see that he couldn't do it here, and the streak ended, made me a little sad as a Ciampa guy. But it was still really, really good. Great match.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I like what you were saying about the submission attempt, because Ciampa just looked rabid in an attempt to get out of it. You know, he kept pulling away like over and over and over again, and eventually, you know, Darby had it in. I think he had it in pretty deep, but every time Darby had to reset because Ciampa was fighting him so hard, it loosened just a little bit more, and Darby had to reapply it again that much tighter.
Yep. So
that part of it was great. I did not find. I found a different Ciampa post, of course. I think it was maybe earlier in the week that he posted it. But yeah, I thought there was a little bit of a chance, because he mentioned the fact that he had won multiple titles in his first attempt. I was like, maybe there's a chance. And then we got that pinfall. And I was like, oh shit. And then obviously it went the way it went. But
yeah.
You know, you always hit the nail on the head where you said, like, wrestling is at its best when you say when it makes you forget. I was always going to say sometimes, you know, if you want to be really smart, when it makes you think you're wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
you know,
that's
you're
fair.
like, shit, there's no way. Like, Darby was clearly going to. How did, and then, oh, okay, he did. Wow, they got me on that one. You know, like when wrestling gets you, when it fools you, and whether you end up being right or wrong, that split second where you think they got you is so great. So love this match. Love Ciampa being put on this level, you know, and at minimum, if he did, I know he didn't beat a main event guy, and I know you said he has to really quote unquote prove himself. He showed he can hang with, you know, one of the best, with the AEW champ and with one of the four pillars. So he's not made in AEW, but he's a guy who's going to be a player. You know, I was just happy it was longer than 2 minutes.
It was 3. ROH TV title, NXT World title, AEW TNT title.
Okay, so I got 2 out of 3. That ain't half bad. Fernando called it a great match. He still doesn't think Darby should be world champion. It's fair. I know you have that opinion. I think Maria might have it slightly as well, but it's something we're all going to have to agree to disagree on. Let's see. You know what's saying? Did Mox run out for the blade job because it was a blood donation from Ciampa? It was a good point.
And that was good.
Yeah, on to that same point, Maria saying, I like blood in my wrestling, but it needs to make sense. This was their first match in AEW. This was not a blood feud or anything like it. I can see where you're coming from. I think a lot of people hold your opinion where blood should be saved for blood feuds or, you know, like really savage circumstances. AEW, I guess, doesn't really feel that way. And I think in this instance, maybe it was a little too bloody because, you know, Ciampa just clipped a bleeder there. Yeah. But I can see on the other side why people would like it, because it just shows how much Ciampa was out there trying to kill himself to get this title.
Yeah.
You know?
I've inherently, I do agree with Maria. Blood should be used wisely. I don't necessarily believe sparingly, but wisely. I think title matches suspend any storyline need for anything where, okay, I'm watching these two guys fight over the top prize and they're giving it all they've got because of how much they want the world title. They're giving their blood, sweat, and tears for this championship. So, yes, I think he bled a little more than he was supposed to, probably, because it looked like he needed a second when it was coming down.
Yeah.
But,
like, did you see the floor in front of the desk? Oh, boy.
There was a point, and it made me think about something. There was a point where as soon as Ciampa got back in the ring the first time after the bleeding started, where he's just got blood all over Darby's back. And I'm like, there's no way Darby's bleeding. That is just straight up Tommaso's blood. And I'm like, I don't think, and I don't know if this is just a weird thing, but like, I've never had somebody else's blood on me before, I don't think. I don't know that I've ever had somebody else's blood on me before.
I think I have, but not in vast quantities.
Yeah, right? Like, at most, I probably had a little bit, like a drop or two from somebody.
Yeah, or like somebody's like bleeding, you're playing hoops or whatever, you don't realize they rub you against you, and you're like, oh, am I bleeding? And you're like, no, I'm not. Oh, guys, who's bleeding? You know?
So I, like, to see someone just pouring blood on somebody else, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot, yeah.
It's one of those things, if you're wrestling, you got to be cool with, you know, other people's bodily fluids, or at least, you know, 3 of them. So blood, sweat, and spit.
Okay, thank God. I got worried.
Yeah.
I got worried.
Well, I mean, there was that one time
I don't want to know.
Edge and Lita, but I don't know if they got that far.
Oh, God.
Fernando also saying he was shocked to see Darby win with the submission. We've seen it obviously before, him using the Scorpion Death Block to win. I kind of like it. I think I like it better than Ciampa getting pinned in this instance. And if you really look at it too, Ciampa didn't lose because of, I don't want to say because of anything Darby did, but it was his own fault, the setup to what ended the match, because he tried to be a dick and use the Scorpion Death Block himself. And if he had either hit Darby with another knee or use his own damn submission, maybe he wins the title.
Yep.
So that, you know, those little subtle things in the storytelling of matches always, I think, makes a big deal, and it's something AEW does incredibly well.
Great call out on that one. Yep.
Maria's very happy that she's never gotten someone's blood on her.
She prays she never gets someone's blood on her.
Yeah, I can't say I blame you. Also, you know what, hitting us with it's still real to him, damn it. Yep. I do recall the vid. I haven't seen it in a while, but I will always.
Yeah, I can't bring myself to watch it again. It gives me, oh God, it gives me the ick.
Fair enough. All right, let's head back to the top of the show and cover what we went around. After the Knight and MJF promo, we went backstage for an interview with The Demand and Chris Jericho. Apparently, there's going to be a 6-man tag on Collision. So Renee asked Jericho who his partners are going to be. And Ricochet immediately cut in, saying there's no way Jericho knows who his partners are going to be because he has burned every bridge in the locker room. And besides, nobody's going to want to team with the guy whose new gimmick is getting his ass beat by Ricochet and The Demand. And then Jericho jumps in and tells Ricochet that he can't say that anymore. Because, if you guys saw the news earlier this week, Jericho actually went and copyrighted it. And then not only that,
brilliant, by the way.
Yes. Now, a lot of people, I found this funny. A lot of people thought it was Jericho just like popping all the people who follow his copyrights.
Yeah.
And it turns out he decided to actually use it.
Well, I think it was still the gag of it all, though.
Yeah.
Like, I would be shocked, truly shocked, if that sells more than 100 shirts.
It feels like a very Y2AJ t-shirt.
Yes. Yes. No, I completely agree.
Yes.
But way more like situational.
Yeah, both which you can go buy at the shop. But Jericho said that he could provide Ricochet with one. Ricochet is like, what the hell? Like, oh, you can't use my thing. And Jericho's like, I can. I copyrighted it. Cease and desist. So Ricochet recomposes himself and says that Jericho can take his ideas, but they'll be taking his dignity once again on Collision when he beats Jericho with the Rico Salt, just like he did at Dynasty. Jericho responds that what Ricochet needs to remember is that he doesn't need to find 2 people who like him. He just needs to find 2 people who hate The Demand, and then drops a bald prick at the end and walks away. And then Ricochet and Demand discuss how there's no way Jericho is going to find anybody. Is Jericho's new gimmick that he has Tourette's? Because he kind of continued what he was doing last week with the bald thing. Obviously, he closed with the bald prick. He did bald a couple of times. He did cease and desist. He did, copyright or trademark while he was explaining that he went and got the copyright. Like, he's just like weirdly interjecting phrases into the middle of his sentences.
I think the concept is he knows he's throwing off his opponent with it, where it's just like you're expecting the sentence to end, and then all of a sudden you get hit with a zinger. Like, was anybody expecting cease and desist? No. Like last week with the bald, it was funny because he knew he was just getting under Ricochet's skin. Then he hit him with the cease and desist, and I can tell you, I was like, "What? wait, what?" So is this an example of Chris Jericho doing what Chris Jericho does, where he takes a bit and then he kind of runs it into the ground a little bit? Yes, but it is working, and I get where it was coming from, even in kayfabe.
Yeah, I mean, it worked the other week when, he was calling Ricochet bald and everything, and the crowd was eating it up. I haven't said as much. I thought it was funny. Him throwing in the other phrases threw me off. But if the crowd likes it, if it works for the live crowd, he's very clearly going to keep doing it until he sees that it isn't working or it runs its course. That's why Jericho's so good at what he does.
And even then, probably a little past that just because he's stubborn.
Yeah, but that's why Jericho has been so good at what he does. He always finds things that the crowd play off of, and he continues it. And that's what any of the greats do. You can even hear, guys like Stone Cold and The Rock and Triple H talk about, like, they say one line in a promo, and then, there's 100 signs of it next week, and then that's what you go with.
Yep.
So obviously we don't have as many signs as we used to. So now you kind of just have to go off what the crowd's reacting to live, or, when you go back and watch the tape, and that's what Jericho decided to latch onto. Maria's saying, all right, we'll talk about this more later, but she was very surprised with the Hurt Syndicate helping Jericho.
We'll probably just do that next segment.
Yeah, I mean, I can run it down right now. This was right before the main event of the evening. Let me just go pull up that banner for you, where Renee was backstage again with Jericho outside of his locker room, and she knocked on the door and asked Jericho whether or not he found his partners for the 6-man tag on Collision. And Jericho says that he has, and he was actually just talking to them, and he steps aside to allow the Hurt Syndicate to step out of his dressing room. Something James called last week.
I am Nostradamus, Nosferatu, the Hunchback of Notre Dame, whatever you want to call it. I am a fortune teller. I am a soothsayer. I called it. I don't know why. I said it as a gag, but you never know. But boy, did this legit from a kayfabe standpoint, this makes total sense. The Demand do not like the Hurt Syndicate do not like Ricochet, and Jericho's going to go to people because it's business. The Hurt Syndicate are in the business of hurting people. They take money to hurt people.
Yep.
It all made sense. I'm glad that MVP and Chris Jericho are, I guess, able to put aside some very big personal differences that has plagued them for years for the sake of this story. And wow, I'm just glad they're back on Dynamite. They've been Collision Cowboys the last few weeks.
Yeah, I'm hyped. Well, I mean, I guess they still kind of are. The matches on Collision, but they at least appeared on Dynamite, which is awesome. Yep. To finish up here, as you mentioned, Shelton came out, told Renee it's always a pleasure to see her, and then MVP briefly stopped to tell her what James just said. With them, it's never personal; it's just business. And then he actually kind of gave a look to Jericho. Before he leaves and Jericho hits us.
Did they shake hands?
I don't think they did. I could be wrong. Me, I'm always clacking away on the keyboard. So I do occasionally miss small things like that. But I didn't see it. And then, like I said, Jericho hit us with another ball. So, yes, Notre Dame over here got that right. And, yeah, I think it's cool. We'll see if things do maybe get personal, considering MVP and Jericho's past history, but I think, that's more of like a inside baseball thing, it feels to me. I don't know how much that's ever been acknowledged on television.
Yeah, no, I don't think ever.
Yeah, and I just really hope that the Hurt Syndicate Demand stuff doesn't go too long past this. We already had that whole feud. We all thought it went too long to begin with. I don't need them to rehash it a 4th, 5th, 6th time.
I agree.
I guess this is kind of the 4th time, but whatever. Which leads us back to Maria saying that she was surprised that the Hurt Syndicate was helping Jericho because of Jericho's and MVP's real life heat. So Yeah, I agree, but fences may have been mended, or
And even if they haven't, MVP is typically a very good professional.
yeah, 'cause
And
with him, it's
Jericho's
business.
yeah. And Jericho is absolutely a carny. He will work with whoever.
Yeah. It's saying bald, Baldweiser. Sounds like a good tie-in for somebody. Fernando not liking the bald thing, saying he knew Jericho was going to be very annoying with it. So lame. Yeah, I'm on the fence about it. Like I said, I thought it was funny last week.
Yes.
He's going to run it into the ground, I think, really
Yes, that's the thing. I liked it last week.
quick. Maria asking, are the Hurt Syndicate basically the APA?
I would love that. I have been waiting for a new APA at this point for decades. I loved the APA growing up. I love the concept of the APA. And I think there are so many guys that could run so far with it. So all you are bodyguard. You're paid, you're muscle for hire. And in a company where alliances change all the time, to just have a couple of guys or even a group of guys who are just like, we're just gonna take your money. Like, if you're like, I don't care if you're a bad guy or a good guy, I'm just gonna take your money. Like, if you pay me, I'll help you.
I think the difference between the Hurt Syndicate and the APA is the Hurt Syndicate will take your money when it's beneficial to them, and maybe not even take your money. We didn't see an exchanging of cash here with Jericho. This seemed like it was just a business opportunity for the Hurt Syndicate to hurt people they don't like and get a win over a team that's been on a bit of a roll lately. So I think it's more that than straight up APA. I don't give a damn what your alliances are. We're just going to take your money to beat people up.
I do agree, but I think it could be a fun segue for the Hurt Syndicate.
Yeah,
I do.
It's there it's same concept, different execution.
Yes, exactly.
What up, Daniel? Thanks for joining us. Glad you got home safe. It's saying I don't think you put Jericho and the Hurt Syndicate together long term.
Oh yeah,
yeah, me neither. I think this is a one-off, and that would make a lot of sense.
And I'm cool with that.
Yeah, me too. It also had a decent point here, going back to that blood conversation that I just wanted to hit really quick. If you look at the territory pictures, all the wrestlers' foreheads had big giant knots where they cut thousands of times weekly. Yeah, you can even look at Devon.
I was going to say, dude, I feel like I owe you $2 or something, because Devon was going to be the example I used. I ran into him this weekend too at WrestleCon, and I see it every time. It is rough. It's like tissue paper.
It really is. And even now, like Moxley's, you can't see it as much, but he bleeds so much because he has so much scar tissue on the front of his head. It just happens to match the color of his head. Yeah. So you can't really see it as much. But yeah, he whether he was bleeding or just accidentally got busted open, every time you pat him on the forehead, I wouldn't be surprised if his daughter accidentally busted open at one point.
That's traumatic.
Yeah, Dusty as well. It's another good point. I'm sure Flair's forehead isn't in great shape.
Oh God, it was rough.
Yeah, so
there's
a lot of people you can make that example with which you can make that example. There you go. All right. After the initial Jericho demand thing, we had Brody King versus Lio Rush, which
I'm so conflicted.
Was our first match of the evening. All right. Do you want to talk about Lio Rush's new gimmick, his Blackheart gimmick?
So I like the concept of the gimmick. I do. It's not often that I agree with this man, but Vince Russo made a great point that AEW, you saw it too, right?
No, I didn't. So that's why the words Vince Russo and agree in the same sentence confused the hell out of me.
I'm like 99% sure this was Russo. If it's not, then I will retroactively take it away from him. But there was an acknowledgement that AEW obviously has great wrestlers, but sometimes they lack characters. And a character like what this Blackheart Lio Rush gimmick could be is very interesting. It is. I think the execution has been horrendous. He was wrestling in Ring of Honor and then immediately shows up at the pay-per-view in the middle of a battle royal that he doesn't win with a new gimmick with no explanation. And it's not the type of gimmick that you could just subtly start changing into. The man is galloping around the ring. And whether you think it's ridiculous or creepy or cool, whatever you might think it is.
You say creepy, and
I wasn't even looking at the comments.
Yeah.
No matter what you think of it, it's a loud gimmick. You can't just do it and then be like, yeah, that's just Lio Rush. You know, like you can't. So I know that this is a gimmick he used on the indies for a good bit before coming to AEW. And it was different. He wasn't bald at that point. He didn't have I even think the contacts.
Those are cool. They're creepy but cool contacts.
He had like face paint. He had like a black like viscous liquid that would like come down from his mouth. And I think like he had like a heart prop. So like it worked apparently on the indies. Apparently it had a good little run on the indies and it was well received in the crowds that he used it with. But that's very different than bringing it to TV in the middle of nowhere. And quite frankly, it sucks to say, but still be a loser with it.
Yeah, they acknowledge on commentary that he hasn't. Yeah, they acknowledge it on commentary. They're like, we're seeing this new side of Lio Rush, and while he seems to be finding his footing as this new persona, he hasn't really found the footing in terms of wins and losses or something to that effect.
I do think there is a lot of potential here for this to be part of something bigger. I don't know if you heard or were paying attention to the things he was saying. He was mumbling to himself before the match.
Yeah.
But there was one thing that really caught my ear.
Was it, it's not his house anymore?
It's not his house anymore. And he said, he told me to say it's not his house anymore.
Now, I was curious, or where do you think that's going? Do you think that's Swerve, or do you think that's referring to the house is black? The House of Black. Because I went Swerve, and I went, oh, no, wait, Brody was in House of Black. It's probably got to do with that.
I mean, that would make... I immediately did go to Swerve. I didn't think about the House of Black, and I'll be honest, if it is about the House of Black, then it probably just meant nothing. It was just a reference to the past.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was.
He hasn't even been with the house. Like, I can't. When was the House of Black the last time a thing? Like, well over a year.
Whenever, yeah, because it was. I was gonna say since Buddy got hurt, and then even then they were the Hounds of Hell, Jinx You Owe Me a Coke. So, yeah, like I don't know. I thought it was just a reference to the past.
Yeah, I admittedly didn't think of that.
Leo's gimmick right now, obviously, the easy comparison is Gollum and the Lord of the Rings. I mean, he runs around like them. He's got the weird eyes. He's bald, and he's just speaking in gibberish and riddles and nonsense because whatever happened to him, whether it be the One Ring or whatever happened to Leo, it's completely warped their mind into this place of insanity, and that's what it feels like he's trying to do. And I'm kind of with here, where he's like, I'm okay with Rush trying, and he's just got to keep working at it.
Yeah, I agree.
It feels like something, if he was in Ring of Honor with it, maybe he should have stuck down there a little while longer with it just to keep working on it for TV purposes.
Yeah, no, I agree, but it never showed up in Ring of Honor.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Then was his first appearance at that? What was it, the Battle Royal or whatever?
I'm like 90% certain.
Yeah, it was the first time I saw him as this as well, and then he's been on Collision a bit, and it's so weird. And I'm gonna agree with some of what Fernando's saying here. He's saying the execution is trash. Something like this needs a backstory, like Kane, Mankind, Bray Wyatt all had a backstory to the madness. I think that's where you are correct. I'm not going to call the execution trash because I think what Leo is doing physically is working very well. He is creepy. Like the character work seems good, but it does lack a backstory where you don't understand why Leo's like this. Like there were no vignettes to set this up. It's just he showed up at that. We talked about this at the whatever it was pay-per-view, whenever that happened.
Yeah,
we were just like, why is Lio Rush running around like Gollum? This is confusing as all hell. And now he's just continuing to do it. And we haven't really gotten an explanation as to why.
And I go back and forth on this. I don't think you need to win to establish yourself as a big deal. But like, there is no way to make me think a gimmick is a loser gimmick than having them lose multiple times. Like,
Yeah, has he gotten a dub with this new character?
I don't think so. Unless something happened on Collision that I missed, I don't think so. Like, I said the same thing about the dogs. Like, everybody was just like, oh, the dogs need this, the dogs need that. And I was like, guys, the way they're being presented is they're going to be a mid-card heel act. And then they lost the big feud, and I was unfortunately right in that regard.
And they lost Kid.
Yeah. And I feel like it's going to be the same with Rush. Like, he needs to get a win. Otherwise, I'm just going to think that this gimmick is that of a loser. So I'm willing to give it time. I'm willing to let it play out. Like everyone says, I agree. I am a big believer in letting things play out. But I let him win. Let him win.
Yeah, he's got to win something somewhere. This is kind of why you miss Dark, you know?
Yeah. Absolutely. Farm wins on Dark.
Exactly. Yeah, it works. It works. Build up those finishers on Dark. Real quick on the dogs, just because you brought them up, they did beat the shit out of the Rascals and the Bucks on Collision. They briefly showed it here on Dynamite, but I didn't write it down as a segment to talk about, so I didn't want to get too distracted. Back to the actual match here, though. Big fuck ice chant at the beginning. Not really surprising in Portland. They've had their issues with the agency. I'll just jump to the end where after kicking out at 1 from a flurry of offense from Rush on the outside, Brody then quickly regained the upper hand. He hit a cannonball in the corner, and then he hit a gonzo bomb for the win. And then, as we discussed after the match, Brody said he'll be keeping a close eye on the main event. Ciampa wins. Congratulations to him. And to Darby, he is so proud of him, but not proud enough to not bring the violence. So it was a good match, James. I mean, it was a pretty decent big guy versus small guy match. Brody obviously had to be looking stronger here because they were setting up for next week. But it should be noted that Brody didn't come out unscathed. He did come out with a left shoulder injury to the point where he had to have Aubrey Edwards raise his right hand instead of his left following the match. Something I think will obviously play into next week's title match.
I think so too. And match itself, like you said, it was good. It was good for what it was. It was fine. What's up?
I'm laughing at the movie comments. I'm sorry.
No, it's good. I thought it was a good. I thought it was a good match for what it was. Weird from a booking standpoint when you have a guy like Brody who is meant to be so cheered, and hard when you're trying to get people invested in a new gimmick. But I don't want to stick on the gimmick topic. The crowd was eating up the galloping around the ring before the dive out, though.
Yeah,
especially on the second attempt.
It's creepy, but he's really weirdly good at it.
Yeah, I don't understand the physics of it, but he's making it work.
Yeah, I mean, he's a lot smaller than me, at least, so I don't know how tall he is in general. But I mean, my body mechanics don't do that. So the fact he's able to do that. Look, you're not a short guy, but I just don't know what he is in comparison to you.
I just felt like you didn't need to say it. You
Probably
could have just said he's a shorter guy in general.
Yeah.
Don't look up his height. Don't look up his height. I know where this is going.
I want to know for my personal thing. All right.
This is heightist. You are being a height supremacist.
He's built at 5'6", so you got it.
All right, I am taller than him. Fine.
Yeah, I told you did. I'm good at
this. But it was not a gamble I needed to make on air right now, bro.
I wouldn't have said it if that I would have just kept moving on.
Oh, anyway.
Sorry, Maria said you look tall.
I appreciate that. I will take it. I really hope that was to me and not just to you. But.
I think we both look tall. In terms of your Wizard movie discussions, I'm going to ignore both of them because it was Star Wars and Lord of the Rings, and I'm going to ignore them because I'm not getting caught in this trap.
Wait, no, hold on. I got to read them now. Damn, Maria. Damn, you know it.
Caught in the trap.
Okay, yeah, no, I completely regret this. This wasn't a trap. This was a bomb. I walked into a crater.
Yep. All right. Following that match, we had our backstage interview with Tommaso Ciampa, went to commercial, and then came back for a backstage promo with Adam Copeland. And Cope says last week, FTR said that he and Christian would never get another tag team title shot, but he disagrees, although he admits he may be biased. He says that while FTR say they're the greatest tag team ever, they're actually just one of the greatest ever. And considering the fact that Cope and Christian wants another title shot, Cope has an idea. Cope and Cage versus FTR for the AEW Tag Team Championships in a New York street fight at Double or Nothing. Now, FTR is probably asking themselves, what's in it for them? And if they accept this match, Cope and Cage will put their tag team on the line, with Cope saying they will retire as a tag team if they lose. Cope says, as a man, he knows what he would do in this situation, especially if FTR wants to prove that they indeed are, in fact, the greatest tag team of all time. It's a hell of a stipulation, James.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it because it's not like, oh my God, you never see Cope or Christian ever again. It's just they can't team together ever again. It feels less permanent, you know, in its own way. Like, it's obviously a permanent change if they can never team up again.
Yeah.
But it's believable enough. I put this in the same category as Ospreay and Swerve against the Bucks, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Where it feels just believable enough to go either way without feeling ridiculous.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I personally think that it probably ends up with Cope and Cage winning just because I can't see Tony Khan never putting their lineage or their names on that lineage. But I agree with you. Like, I still think there is an opportunity that, you know, FTR retain their titles. I really do.
No, it's possible.
Yeah, Double or Nothing is a bigger stage, though, you know, compared to Dynasty. Not that Dynasty wasn't a big pay-per-view. It's just that Double or Nothing's one of the original 4.
Yeah.
So, obviously, I think that makes it slightly bigger. And you have in the added stipulation of a street fight, which can lead to shenanigans to allow Cope and Cage to win. So, I think that's what's going to happen. But we still have over a month until that pay-per-view. So,
yeah,
we got a lot of time. Maria does love the stipulation, and I agree. Like, it'll warm up to me. I always get nervous with these type of stipulations, though. So I'm like, man, I really hope that, you know, Cope and Cage never want to tag again.
Yeah,
that would suck. Although Maria believes that FTR is going to win and add to their legacy. So, like I said, we'll see a lot of stuff that's going to come into play over the next month.
I think the biggest tease of all this has been that they've really been teasing the Bucks versus Cope and Christian. Yeah. And I don't think they would tease that if it's not in the cards.
Good point.
So, I mean, I know you and we've all discussed heavily here at the pod the possibility of a TLC-like match at All In.
Yes, obviously we're going to call it the CLT, but okay.
So yeah, I'm leaning towards Cope and Christian winning and winning.
Well, yeah, we'll wait for the odds makers to really start putting the books down because this just got made, but we'll see. Also, yes, you know it, Flash. Following that, we had Hikaru Shida versus Mina Shirakawa, and they give Nick everything Nick's like match.
I was very. This took a lot out of me.
So Shida was accompanied to the ring by Chris Statlander, and as they were going down, they got one of those pre-tape promos. I don't know if it was full screen or picture-in-picture. But Shida was like, oh, you know, may the best Joshi win as 2 of the best Japanese women go after it. But she also spoke again in Japanese. And apparently the gimmick is while she's speaking in Japanese, she is just shit-talking everybody. Yep. So I haven't gotten an opportunity to check to see if she did that again here tonight.
Did you see what commentary? Did you hear what commentary was saying?
It was something about her cat, which I'm assuming means...
yeah. I thought,
something else. But I don't know if the Japanese use that word in that way.
I mean, that's what makes it so good, because it gives you the way of not getting in trouble with censors.
Yeah, I guess that's a point. Although I don't think the censors would pick up Japanese anyway, and they're usually pretty chill on cable television about other languages cursing,
Yeah.
because your average American isn't going to call the FCC and complain. And even if they do, the FCC can't do shit about it.
Yep.
So yeah, I will. Maybe I could look it up, but I love the gimmick, and it's really funny that she would say something to somebody who speaks Japanese as opposed to like Willow or.
But I think that's what makes it so good.
Yeah.
She's shit talking someone she knows is going to hear it and understand it and take it in, while also still playing the innocent, like, I didn't say anything.
Yep. Yeah,
So
she's still the face.
I think that's what okay. But I think that's what makes it work so well. And it really sold why Mina was so pissed throughout this match.
I was about to say, yeah, they didn't shake hands at the start of the match, and her frustration played into the end. A combination of that and commentary mentioned a kendo stick was found at the scene of the crime with Tony Storm. So obviously a lot of that's going to be red herrings, but Mina probably considers Shida a suspect.
Yep.
Assuming that Mina didn't do it in the first place. Couple of things here. There was a really cool sequence in like the later quarter of this match, I'll say, where Mina kicked out of there was a Rana into the steps, and then Shida hit like a crunch on the apron. That's the only way I can describe it. And then Mina rolled back in the ring, so Shida went up top and hit a Meteora, and then Mina kicked. And then friggin' Shida hit a Tamashi, and Mina kicked again. And I was like, I didn't know we kicked out of that.
We do that here?
Yeah, I forgot that it wasn't necessarily Shida's finisher. She's kind of mixed it up, though.
Yeah,
depending
she
on
has. She
what
has.
time it is. So Mina then turned that momentum around. Eventually, she hit a sling blade off the top rope, but Shida kicked out of that. So Mina then locked in the figure four. Shida was able to scramble to the ropes, but Mina refused to release the hold. So referee Mike Posey had to pull Shirakawa off. And obviously, as we mentioned, Shida was very frustrated. So she started going after the ref and yelling at him. And Shida used this distraction, to kind of shimmy over to the corner where her kendo stick was. And then Mina noticed this and instead went over, kind of moved the referee out of the way, went over and grabbed the kendo stick herself. And still being incredibly frustrated, decided to use it. However, as she swung the kendo stick over her head, Statlander jumped up on the apron and was able to eventually grab the kendo stick and pull it out of Mina's hands. And Mina would turn around and was like, what the hell? What are you doing? And that distraction allowed for Shida to line Mina up, and then she hit Mina with the jumping knee. And then Shida did the deal with the Falcon Arrow and picked up the W. And then after the match, Statlander got in the ring to return the kendo stick to Shida, who took it and then gave Stat a big hug. And Stat was like, okay, yeah, I guess we're hugging now. But she seemed more receptive to it than she had in previous weeks. James, I'm seeing a couple of comments here, so I'm going to be, truthful and say I cannot be objective with this match because I loved it. Because I love both of these women, especially Shida. I'm a day one Shida fan since the start of AEW. So maybe you can lend a little bit more objectivity to how you thought this match went, because I'm sure I could find a flaw in it, but I just, A, don't want to, and B, I'm just so happy to see Shida back on my TV again, especially on Dynamite having a match. And you're on mute, by the way.
Thank you. I am not too proud to say that I was heavily distracted in this match. Shida had a tear in her tights that was just terribly placed for anybody trying to pay attention to the action.
Bonk.
Yeah, no, I know what I am. I'm not too proud.
So there goes all objectivity here.
No. I can be. I can do this. I can do this. No, I agree with them for the most part. I feel like this wasn't as smooth as it could have been. I thought the finish was a little clunky too. Overall, I understand the story that they're trying to tell here. I really just hate what they're doing with Statlander. I don't think you need Statlander for this story. Go ahead.
All right. So the story, I'm assuming not just with the match, but just Shida as a whole.
Yes, I like. Stat just lost the women's world title like a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, and she's already now a secondary player in somebody else's story. Like, that's a big demotion. And whether or not they commit to maybe turning her heel and she actually does join with Shida, or she rebels against Shida's heel antics, I don't know. But we've been playing. Speaking, that was good. Yeah, that was. We're all thinking it. I don't feel bad. But no matter what, whether she does rebel against Shida or she joins Shida, we've been down this road with Stat so many times. Somebody who is this successful should not have this many issues with self-identity. Like, you just shouldn't. Be confident in who you are at this point.
Well, I mean, she's from outer space and she's still trying to figure it out. She didn't grow up here.
Whatever.
There have been rumors, maybe it's been just more scuttlebutt discussion amongst, wrestling fans, that maybe they might put together some sort of AEW Originals faction on the women's side of things. I don't know who your third player would be there, but I don't know if Rick's returning anytime soon. It doesn't seem like it. But yeah, you have some sort of third player who is an AEW original, and you have that as a faction. I don't know if that's something that's going to happen. I don't even know if that's something Tony Khan is considering. But if that is the route, Statlander being with Shida makes a little bit more sense, because otherwise I kind of agree with you. The reason they're together is Shida just kind of forced her into it, and now they're starting to kind of get along. Maybe, I guess, because they're winning.
Yeah.
Or maybe they eventually lose, and that's when Shida kind of full blown, starts being the heel, and we still end up with a face Statlander.
Like, she's already, she just made up with Willow. Why isn't she hanging out with Willow?
Where's Harley, for that matter?
That I agree with too, but I think
didn't she get hurt?
I have no clue. I remember the segment that she had with Willow after they lost the tag titles, where she was like, "I'm always going to be in your corner, but I guess I got to do my own thing too."
Yeah.
But I guess that just means, all right, we'll be pen pals. We're not going to be close friends.
Harley was also going out and trying to find somebody else to hang with, and she got rejected a few times, leading people to think that, when Mercedes comes back, that's going to be what happens. But I don't know. Her just not being around has been weird. So yeah, the Statlander part of this is a little weird. But I think as for Shida, she's still a face in my book, no matter what. But I'm liking her character. I'm liking, her having a little bit of edge to her, because realistically, she's had the same character since the start of AEW. So the fact that they're finally pulling the trigger on this is interesting, even if it's not the, quote unquote Yakuza boss Shida that everyone wanted. It's just still pretty funny, and I think it's gonna end up being pretty cool.
I love Shida. I'm rooting for her to be doing something cool. She's one of those people who got so much relatively so quickly that it's always sort of hard to book people like that, where it's like, okay, even if she does win the women's title again, what does that mean?
She's won it thrice already.
Exactly. And I love her. I'm not saying I don't want her to win the women's title ever again, but you got to do something creative with it. It's what made Tony work, despite having long reigns with the title, also being a 3-time women's champion. She was doing fresh stuff with the title. So I'm rooting for Shida. I'm skeptical about where this is right now, at least as it pertains to Stat. I'm all down with her turning heel, seeing where that goes. I personally think she's someone who should maybe be thrown into the tag division. I think she would benefit.
They kind of are right now. They're undefeated. Yeah. The Divine Dominion was brought up during the match. So
I don't know, but time will tell. I do like the finish where Stat unintentionally cost Mina the match. Arguably, if she didn't get involved, who knows where it would have gone. But because she took the kendo stick, it led to Mina getting the knee to the face and then getting Falcon arrowed.
Yeah, and obviously, I think you can kind of blame Mina's own frustration there as part
Yeah,
of
no,
part of that.
absolutely.
You could also just blame, Shida shouldn't have gone for it in the first place.
Yeah.
So there were layers to the finish. Maybe it wasn't, the cleanest, grab by Statlander getting the stick, but that Falcon Hour was still clean as hell, and that's all that matters
It
to
really
me.
did. It really was.
She's
It
done
really
the
was.
deal. To the comments on this, Maria loves Shida's new gimmick.
Yep, it works.
Pointing out, Mina was the one who refused the handshake. Yep. Fernando, not a fan of this match. Said it was terrible with a few botches. Fair.
I think that's pushing it a little much. I don't think it was terrible, and I don't think it was sloppy. I think there were some botches, but I mean, it happens.
Shida's still finding her footing as well.
Yeah. And I'm saying this just from an objective standpoint. It does seem like her body type has changed a little bit, which is going to affect her ring work.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
It looks like she's bulked up a little bit.
Yeah. It's saying the story was better than the match. Fair enough. I thought it was a good story.
I think that's accurate.
Fernando saying, I don't know if it's wise to put Chris Statlander in this story. Her character has been wishy-washy for a while, and that's why she's been getting conflicting fan reactions as a babyface.
I agree with Fernando there.
Yeah, she hasn't really locked anything down as a gimmick. She had, when she had the title, she kind of had that gimmick where she was like the best version of all of herself. Yeah. And it was working there, but then she loses the title, and now she's in all black with like backward, with bandanas on, and it's like, you look like a badass, but why the change? Why, what are you doing with stuff with Shida now? All of a sudden, why aren't you going back for the title? It's like, where is Statlander going from here? The only other thing we saw with her was just her being mad at Thunder Rosa.
Yeah, inexplicably too, kind of.
Yeah, and I understand like wanting to have Rosa's back, like, hey, be careful with Tekla, but that went nowhere, and Thunder lost. So I don't know. Yes, thank you. We did remember, but yes, Harley and Willow split up in that backstage promo. Maria's saying the last time we saw Harley, she was getting hammered with a bottle of liquor.
I mean, honestly, that just sounds like normal Harley behavior.
I wasn't sure if she meant like drinking or over the head, like considering AEW. We're also saying, can a serious heel Harley Cameron work in AEW like when the Hurricane became just Gregory Helms and was the cruiserweight champ for a year?
I am gonna say an unpopular opinion here. I know there are people who love the Gregory Helms gimmick for him. I never cared. I never cared about the Gregory Helms gimmick. I think he worked as characters outside of Hurricane. Like when he was in WCW and he was Sugar Shane Helms, I thought that worked for him. I never really cared about the Gregory Helms gimmick. So, yeah, I don't know.
A, I never knew that was a thing. B, is every guy named Shane Sugar? Like, is every fighter like the Sugar Shane Mosley? Tell me there's a Sugar Shane Helms.
It flows so well.
I know it does, but
yeah, the Gregory Helms gimmick was successful, but it's not like it really catapulted him into anything big. And that, to your question regarding Harley, I think it could. But we've never seen her as a serious character. Like the most serious I think we ever saw her was when she debuted and she was part of the QTV stuff.
Yeah,
and even then, that was a story that was mostly played for laughs. Like,
she was having a rap battle with the Acclaimed and thought Bowens was hitting on her.
So I don't know. It's not to say she can't, but we've literally, I don't think, ever seen it. So anything is possible. Anything is possible. But what I'm inclined to say is when you're as good at what you're doing as Harley is at what she's doing, I'm hesitant to switch up the formula unless you know you can do it.
Yeah, or it's just you've completely run the well dry.
Yeah.
And do I think Harley could play a good heel? Yes, she is so incredibly fucking talented. I'm sure she can. But right now, we still enjoy her the way she is, so let that continue. Obviously, maybe grow her character, but she can still be the insane, knifey, spoony Harley Cameron she always has been.
Oh, yeah.
All right, following that, we had a banger.
Upset of the year, right?
I would think so. I mean, maybe on paper, Darby being an MJF is upset of the year, but that kind of got telegraphed. I wasn't expecting this, and in the manner in which it happens. So, Ospreay versus Davis, that carny piece of shit Don Callis on commentary. Ospreay tries to start the match again with a hidden blade right off the jump, but Davis was ready for it. Just started whipping Ospreay's ass up and down the ring for a little while.
Yep.
Some other awesome spots. Ospreay countered what I'm going to start calling the bounce back lariat. They don't have a name for what Davis does, but it makes sense. So he countered that with a Spanish fly, which was awesome. Davis kicked. Davis also hit a series of backdrop suplexes onto Will. Will kicked out of that. So Davis went for the bounce back lariat again, and Ospreay countered that with a hidden blade and got in a very half-hearted Shawn Michaels, I just fell on top of you pin, and Davis was able to kick. Ospreay then went for another hidden blade, but Davis just ran him over and then hit Ospreay with a big stuck pile driver. However, as Davis goes for the pin, he pins the inside leg, and Ospreay's outside leg falls onto the ropes as the referee is counting, breaking that up.
If I may, because I don't want to lose this point later. I love that detail because in my head, I don't know if that was Ospreay putting his foot on the ropes or the pin just didn't go in Davis's favor and his foot just landed that way.
His leg looks so lifeless. Yeah. I thought it just fell. I like the idea that you can't really tell.
Yes. Big time.
But to me, and especially what happened after, it looked to me like his leg kind of just fell into it.
Yeah.
Either way, Don was irate. He hopped off a commentary, started screaming at the ref. Davis was also pretty pissed, but he quickly realized, wait, I got this guy dead to rights. Yeah. So he kind of gets Don out of the way, grabs Ospreay, and hits the big pile driver again, but this time on the apron. And so Will bounces off neck first to the floor, and he's just dead. So the referee goes to check on him. Don is on Davis to try to get back on him, but Paul Turner, the referee, is holding Davis back. He gets Doc Samson over, and eventually Turner's able to get Davis back in the ring. Don goes to commentary. He's like, I don't want to say anything too bad, but all I'll say is I heard a crack.
Yeah, that was a rough comment.
Samson's checking, and you'd think Turner would start a count, but he doesn't. Maybe because Davis keeps, chomping at the bit to go back out there, and Turner keeps having to stop him, or it's just because the ref's out there checking. But either way, it didn't matter because Doc Samson called for the stoppage. Because due to a medical stoppage, because as you heard him say, Ospreay had no feeling in his arm. I presume his left arm. So Davis gets this giant upset win again due to friggin' medical stoppage over Will Ospreay. I want to talk about what happened after in a moment, but I really want to focus on this match right now.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, Jim, this is a monster upset.
Yes.
Easily Davis's biggest win, probably in all of AEW, but especially since he has become this version of this character. And he now isn't just the guy who they sold on commentary as the workhorse for the Don Callis family, as he's the guy with the most matches this year for that group. But now he's got a fucking medical stoppage win over Will fucking Ospreay. I don't care how banged up Ospreay is. That is an unbelievable notch in your belt.
So this is one of those things that we talked about as a hopeful silver lining when it came to Kyle Fletcher's injury.
Yes.
That we were going to see Davis get promoted, and this was going to be his sink or swim time, where he was going to be given chances, and let's see if they were able to build off of it. And they are. They are giving him chance after chance here to do well, and he's doing well. It obviously, it's not always the booking, it's the performance, and sometimes it's not just the performance, it's the booking. This is a perfect combination where this guy is beating the biggest baby face in the company in a very hot feud right now, because he's in a hot storyline, and it feels right. Let's comment on Davis real quick. A guy who unfortunately has missed loads of time on his own end because of injury.
Yeah.
Came back and, let's just be honest, immediately felt like a +1. Like, it sucks to say, but it was true. He felt like just an addition to the Don Callis family, an extra body, a warm body. We commented it looked like he was a little bit out of shape. Like, it wasn't affecting his ring work. He was working great, but we noticed he was a little out of shape. He looks so much better now. His chest, rock hard, daddy.
Yeah, it's much more barrel chested now.
Yes, looking great, performing at a level that, yes, this is a guy who was teaming with Kyle Fletcher and fucking Will Ospreay in New Japan. So performing like a stud. He's doing something that I love. I try not to be an old grump about certain moves. I'm a big believer in protecting the pile driver. And I do think there are places in, now WWE a little bit too, but more so AEW, TNA, where the pile driver doesn't feel as important as it should. Mm-hmm. He's making the pile driver feel fucking important.
Yeah, and just the way he does it too, especially, when he does the normal ones, like with the one he did on Ospreay tonight, both of them, and I call them normal.
Yeah.
Like, he's still just getting so much downforce on these things. It's insane. But the ones he does, and I know he can only, I guess, really do them to certain guys who are smaller. When he pulls motherfuckers up and they go down together, which I still think they should call the slam dunk pile driver.
Yep.
Those are fucking nasty.
They're great, dude. They are great.
Side note, didn't he get the pinfall for when the Don Callis family won the trios titles?
He did.
Yeah.
So
I think, that was his biggest swing out to that point. And you can still consider it that because it was a title, but this is obviously, just as big a singles win. I just want to throw out into
winning the trios titles was big, but look who he was like. I mean, granted, Hangman wasn't that, but like, this is pinning Will Ospreay, former world champion, former IWGP champion Will Ospreay.
Yeah,
this is a big win.
Former international champion Will Ospreay.
Yes. So I'm really happy that Davis is getting this chance. It'll be interesting to see where he places once Fletcher comes back. But if they keep booking him this way, it won't matter. He's going to be an equal. He's not going to be Fletcher's Genetti.
Yeah. And, at some point, if you want to run back the Aussie Open tag title run again, I think it would make both of them that much bigger in the tag division,
I agree.
Their names would mean a lot more to the lineage of that those tag titles than perhaps when they had just first come in.
And it won't feel necessarily like Fletcher is stepping down to do so.
Exactly, right? If you can get them on an equal playing field again, just with a higher playing field, then I think I agree 100%. But in the meantime, this is so big for Davis. The
match was good.
The match. Like I said before, I didn't think there was any way the main event would be better than this. And I was wrong, but they are neck and neck. So good.
And how crazy is it that we're saying it about a match that had stoppage, not a pin or a submission or anything? It was just stoppage. That's fantastic. I thought Davis looked great here, looking like a tank next to Will Ospreay's like ping-ponging missile. Ospreay brought out a really great hidden blade late in the match.
Oh, the one where he countered the what was it? The bounce back lariat?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was a great hidden blade. But both guys just looked so good. Ospreay having the harder job of not just having a great match, but having a great match while also selling that you're hurt. So just bravo. I think if I'm going to nitpick and say I have one little thing that I wish AEW didn't do, I'm never a big fan of when they lean into the injury and say stuff like he has no feeling in his right arm. I understand that it's there to like sell the drama. I understand that it's there to really sell the danger of everything. I was never crazy when WWE did stuff like that. and I'm not crazy about it here. Like, there are certain injuries that I wish you don't invoke the kayfabe of. Like, I never want to hear in kayfabe that someone has a concussion. Because then I'm going to think, I don't want to see this guy wrestle.
Yeah, you're going to get a lot of, he got his bell wrong, but they're never going to say concussion.
Exactly. And it used to be a thing. Like, he might be concussed, but he's still going. It's like, stop the fucking match. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that this guy might have a concussion and he's still getting dropped on his head.
Yeah,
So,
especially when we see guys with real concussions and then, they get their streaks broken at WrestleMania. But yeah, I agree with you. I see what you're saying. Certain things, like, they don't bug me, but I get why you wouldn't like it. But in the meantime, Davis is looking like a star here.
Oh, yeah. No, cheers to him. This is what we wanted. We're getting it, and I'm rooting for him to keep this going.
Aussie, Aussie, Aussie.
Oi, oi, oi.
Let's see. Maria saying that she's really enjoying the way Tony is using Mark Davis. And we've kind of seen it over the months, not just with the Trios title win, but just the fact that Tony has been putting him in high-profile situations, even in losses, to build him up as a monster. When even if he loses, you're gonna have to, like, kill him to put him down.
Yeah.
Now he's got this win. I'm curious to see if they continue this feud and Will kind of does what he did for Fletcher in helping build Davis up with a series of matches and, probably culminating at something big, maybe a Double or Nothing.
Yeah. I hope he's earning it.
Yep. It's saying Davis's slaps and hits sound like shotguns.
Yep.
Good point.
Don't disagree.
Fernando wants Mark Davis versus Brody King in a blood feud ASAP.
They already had the match, didn't they?
I want to say they did.
I think it was like a couple months back.
It might have even been a couple of weeks back. Yeah. No, they definitely did. At minimum, they faced off in a tag team match.
February. They wrestled in February.
Yeah. And I think they might have also been involved in something with the Don Callis family in a tag match.
Yeah.
But
one-on-one, they wrestled in February.
I think it was the Kenny Jack Brody match against the Don Callis family?
Probably.
I think it was that because I was very excited that they got to interact again. And then I'm pretty sure he was supposed to be in the next match, but obviously Brody, that is. But then obviously he missed that match and Bandito stepped in.
Yeah.
It's saying that Davis partly dominated the match. I think you can say he mostly dominated the match.
Yeah.
Will got some stuff in, especially early on, but once Davis got rolling, Will was just doing
Davis's match, and Ospreay was keeping up.
Yeah. Ospreay was just doing his best to counter where he could and try to put Davis down, and he couldn't do it.
I think this next comment is really good.
Yeah, Maria comparing Mark Davis to Rick Steiner.
I see it. I get it.
Yep.
I get it.
And joking around, how would we know if they're injured if they don't tell us, James?
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I do need to be spoon-fed my news.
Sometimes. Okay, so after the match, I didn't give a banner for this, but whatever.
Yeah, it's part of it.
Davis grabbed Ospreay and dragged him back into the ring by his neck.
Which it gave me the heebie-jeebies. I'm not like, I know he's fine. But it's like I said earlier, the best stuff is when it makes you forget.
So then he goes to set up Ospreay for the pile driver, and the one I'm again now referring to as the slam dunk pile driver because he had Will by the legs.
Yeah.
And it looked like he was going to toss him up and drop him. But he stops because Marina Shafir appears on the apron. And then he turns around, and Jon Moxley is standing in the ring right next to him.
Mox was stitched up. Did you notice that?
Yes, I did.
Where was that from?
I don't know. Did he have something on Collision recently? Maybe he was just training. No set.
Maybe.
After Moxley get there, Davis is still assessing his options when Claudio Castagnoli, Wheeler Yuta, and Daniel Garcia all come down and get up on the apron.
I love not Pac, though.
Yeah. He only comes out when he has to.
Yeah.
And then at the behest of Don, Davis decides that discretion is a better part of valor. He leaves, dropping Ospreay in the ring, and the two head to the back. And then the Death Riders, mainly Wheeler and Garcia, and then shortly after Claudio's, because Claudio can carry anybody, pick Will up and drag his basically lifeless body through the crowd to the back.
Less drag and more carry.
Yeah, well, yeah, they had him up on his shoulders, but Will wasn't like walking.
Yeah.
He was like his legs were dangling and those were being dragged.
Yeah.
So that was weird.
Yeah.
You know what? Asking a good question. Was this a rescue or a kidnapping?
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
Yes. What do the Death Riders have in store for Will? They just came off a kind of one-sided blood feud.
Yep.
Will, and I say one-sided because Will is the one out for blood. Moxley was the one who continually said, like, this is not personal for me.
Yeah.
So
do
they rebuild him? Do they have the technology?
I mean, they already did. Do you not remember the vignette where he's in the back to tank?
Very true. Do the Death Riders try to like help him? Will he accept their help?
I think it's going to be a little bit of everything. I think it's going to be Moxley respects Will.
Mm-hmm.
All the things that were part of the Death Riders like initial mission statement about like wanting to see people rise up and show that they can go and they're going to not back down from any challenge. I think Will has shown that to Mox, and Mox respects that. So I think we're probably going to see an offer maybe to join the Death Riders. Ospreay's probably going to rebel against that. But then it's probably going to be one of those things where Mox and him are cool, but then the others start to resent Mox because he won't put Ospreay down. So we're probably going to see Ospreay and Mox against the Death Riders at some point.
Maybe. Yeah, Maria asking, is this recruitment?
I don't think know. It's the plan.
Yeah, I could totally see them doing some sort of vignette or package where Ospreay is kind of like in a dark room with like a single swinging light bulb above him, like on a chair. I don't know if he'll necessarily be tied to it or like
it's gonna be full Casino Royale.
Yeah, a little bit. Hopefully with some more clothes, although for the benefit of those who enjoy those sort of things, maybe not. He didn't have a shirt on when he left, but I can kind of see, I don't whether or not he's like taped to the chair or he's just still so weak that he can be there, or that you got Claudio and then behind him. I could kind of see Moxley giving him an offer to be like, we can help get you back to where you were.
We have the technology.
Not necessarily like with rehab stuff, but like with fighting.
Yeah.
Like you're so focused on the revenge factor that you're not focused on, your technique. You're winning, winning, like you're missing all the small things. So, sorry, I was like trying to find a Blink-182 joke and I couldn't get there. So, and then, Ospreay's probably be like, I never join you, and like be really pissed, but too weak to attack him. And Moxley's like, you're free to go. Like, you can do whatever you want, offer stands, and then we'll see what ends up happening there. But I'm so curious to see where they go with this. Because it blew my mind that's how they would play it. It blew my mind at the end of the match, and then they did this, and now I'm just like, what the hell is going on? in the best way possible. So there's a lot of things tonight where I'm just like, where's Tony going?
I remember like every once in a while, we typically, guys, for those who don't know, when we watch separately, and then we come here and we're talking really for the first time.
Yeah, unless James like excitedly calls me and tells me that he got the Hurt Syndicate thing right,
which I did.
Yes, he also told me twice during the Darby stuff last week. Once during the beginning, and then they were like, "All right, we're not doing it now." And then he called me at the main event, and I'm like, I have the show set up.
I have no regrets, but this was an instance where Rev texted me, where he was like, I don't even know how I feel about this. Like,
I have so many thoughts and emotions right now.
And I texted him my responses, which was, holy shit, oh my God, what the fuck, holy hell. All right, that's cool. And that's how it played out for me. So I think both of us knew while we were watching it that we were watching something really epic. And
we don't know why yet. Well, we know why with the Davis stuff.
With the match,
But even then, like, it could be even more epic in retrospect, depending on how Tony uses him in the future. And then this, we'll see what happens with the Death Rider stuff. It could be really epic, but we got to see. similar to the MJF TNT title stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know where Tony's going with it, but I am intrigued as all hell.
I'm
And
in.
that's how you get people to come back next week.
Oh yeah.
Following that, we went backstage with Alex Windsor, who apparently didn't mind that her husband just got kidnapped.
It happens, she's not new. She's not new to wrestling. She knows how this goes.
Yeah, you think she'd care a little bit that a bunch of people just, hauled her husband's lifeless corpse somewhere, but...
while standing next to the wife of the person who did it.
I didn't even think about that. Maybe she just didn't get the news. Maybe there wasn't the match wasn't on where she was standing. Who knows?
How great would it have been? How great would it have been if she goes, "Where the fuck did your husband take my husband?"
They should let the birds curse a little bit more on TV, as long as you can bleep them.
Yeah.
So whatever. Either way, Renee asks about both Windsor's and Jamie Hayter's recent losses to Tekla. And Windsor says that those might have happened, but she's still not done with Tekla. And she's now going to pick the legs off of the spider one by one. The Triangle is lucky that Jamie isn't there with her right now, since Jamie still hasn't been cleared since her title match for whatever reason, because they would beat the piss out of them. The semi-newly signed Persephone comes over. CML, one of the CMLL women's champion. Well, they're world women's champions, right? They do it backwards.
I think so.
Yeah. So she comes over and she says that she was hanging out backstage and looking to beat up some annoying people. So while she's not a bird, she couldn't think of anyone more annoying than the Triangle of Madness, and would like to join Alex in, kicking their ass. And Windsor's like, "Oh, that was easy." And she's like, "All right, Triangle of Madness, pick two of yous, and we'll see you on Collision." And then she has Persephone say that we're going to beat the bloody piss out of you in Espanol. So that was fun. I like that. Good setup for Saturday. Collision's back on Saturday, kids.
Finally.
Yep. Next up, we had Samoa Joe versus Cody Chun, who might be a local guy. I mean, is a local guy, but he might be a big-time local guy because there was a chant I couldn't make out during this match, and it might have involved him. So if it was, good for you, Cody. Bad news for you is that you got your ass handed to you.
Oh, my.
The returning
Joe was
Samoa
not gentle.
Joe.
Joe was not gentle here.
Yeah, Chun did get a little bit of offense in, but I think it was mostly just because Joe was toying with him. I don't know how to say it in Spanish. There was a peta and a madre in there or something, so I'm just gonna leave it alone. But anyway, following an eye rake while he was up on the top, Chun then went for a crossbody, and Joe just noped his way out of there. And then Joe grabbed Chun, violently threw him into the corner, and then he got him up to the top rope and hit him with the muscle buster for the win. And then after the match, Joe walked up the ramp where he was greeted by Hook, and the two dapped up. So important to note, just really quick, that Joe was still listed as a member of the Ops on his graphic. So it looks like he will still be involved with them. But honestly, storyline aside, man, it's just cool to see fucking Samoa Joe again. I'm glad he's healthy.
I am too. I'm so happy he's back, but my God, did this feel like an afterthought? There was no hype for Samoa Joe's return. Like, I understand if he was cleared in the middle of the week and they were like, all right, let's just put him on as soon as we can. But I would have had a hype package. I would have hyped this up last week. I would have done something, because it's Samoa Joe, a 2-time AEW world champion. And it was just, here he is in the middle of the show in a match against the jobber, and he's gone. It made me a little sad.
Yeah, I wonder if this happened very recently, and Joe was like, "Oh, hey, I'm cleared. I can show up on Wednesday if you'd like." Maybe it was that. Maybe just Tony just wanted to get him back on TV, and he'll figure all of it out later. Tony always has these big long plans, and then sometimes people get hurt. He's got to change them all, and then people come back, and then he's like, "Oh, I got to change it again." Yeah. So maybe he was just looking to get Joe on TV, have everyone start thinking about him again, while he figures out how to get him back into the world title picture. Because I think that's very clearly where they're going to put him. That's all commentary talked about during this match. That and the nope spot. I think Nigel said there was never a crossbody that Joe never wanted to walk or couldn't walk away from. So
all right, that spot where Joe threw him into the turnbuckle before the Muscle Buster was fucking rough.
Ooh.
That was a tough spot.
I loved it. Shout out to Mr. Chun for just taking that.
Yep, like a
good
champ.
for him.
Like a champ.
Maria said, "Welcome back, Joe." You know it, saying that his thoughts are the same. It didn't feel like that big of a deal. Yeah, I guess it was very understated for fucking Samoa Joe, but I'm just happy he's back.
Yeah.
Maria with a great what if question: what if Joe never got injured when he was in WWE on the main roster? I hope he would have beat Brock Lesnar. He should have at Great Balls of Fire, but he should have beat him at some point. That's my answer. And he wouldn't have been on commentary.
Yeah, I don't.
He's great at it.
I don't know. I don't know that they ever. His timing, his rise on the main roster coincided at the worst possible time. Of this was like peak. We're trying to get Roman over.
Yeah, they were trying to push a different Samoan Joe, and it was so annoying.
Joe. And Brock was at his most unbeatable, I think.
Yeah.
So
I do think Joe got the closest, though.
Yeah, no, he did. He did.
Say what you will about the name of the pay-per-view, but that Great Balls of Fire match was absolute fire.
I loved it. I thought it was a great match. I hated that he went down to one F5 because that was a point where they were trying to really establish the F5 as a super killer finisher again.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Roman kicks out a 6 at Mania.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. But it was still a great feud that established Joe in front of eyes that weren't super familiar with him as a genuine badass. So I don't know. Maybe if he stayed several more years, he would have eked out a title win. But if they really wanted to give it to him, they could have had him take it off AJ when they had that feud, and they just didn't. So I don't think it was ever in the cards for him, unfortunately.
He's still there. He's definitely getting a world heavyweight title run, but WWE would have probably been a little bit of an ask. Yeah. Unfortunately, because he's one of the best ever.
Yep.
All right. And that's all we had to cover. After that was that was it. I just left an extra I left the banner in there. It threw me off. I was like, there was a Pickler and Windsor promo. That was last week. So yeah, James, that was Dynamite. A lot of setup here tonight between, as I mentioned, the MJF TNT thing, everything we just discussed with Davis, and then Ospreay and the Death Riders. And then we even got another title match for next week, along with a phenomenal title match tonight. A great match from Ospreay and Davis as well. And Shida finally gets her way back onto Dynamite, which is, again, just a Nick thing. But I really enjoyed this episode. I thought the wrestling was great, and it's rare. I'm like, all right, I'm super hyped for Dynamite next week because we know some of the things that are happening, but we don't always know all of it, and not all of it is huge.
Yeah.
Next week's got 2 big time title matches with
that are one of them are at least truly unpredictable.
Yeah, with big main event players, and I gotta know what the fuck went on with the Death Riders.
Yeah. Great storytelling. Great storytelling. It keeps us coming back. I want to take this time again. Like we always do our best to compartmentalize when we're here for AEW. We're here for AEW. We try not to talk unless it really pertains to something about any of the other companies. And likewise, when we're covering them, we don't want to bring it to AEW. But this has been a great few days of wrestling. You know, WWE put on a great night 2 of WrestleMania. I'm saying what I'm saying.
No, you're not wrong.
AEW was coming off of a very, very talked about, buzzed about week last week, and I think they did a great job of following up this week. So I'm living for this. I'm thriving off of this right now. I'm enjoying every company that I'm watching it to some degree. You know, like I said, night 2 was great. It seems like they followed up with a pretty strong Raw the next night, it seems.
Yeah, some of it seemed pretty good. You know, I'm a big, like, when we watch the highlights on Reddit guy, the call-ups seemed like fun.
Yes, they do. And now AEW...
And Oba's the man.
Goes without saying, but yes, I'm happy to say it. AEW is firing on all cylinders, it feels like. as you're getting ready. Like they're on their stretch to All In.
Yeah. Well, we got Double or Nothing first.
Well,
I don't want to discount that.
We got Double or Nothing. We've got Forbidden Door, and it seems that they're introducing a new pay-per-view in June or July. Redemption, I think, is what they're calling it.
Interesting.
But I mean, like, this is the road to All In. Like, Royal Rumble is the road to WrestleMania. This is the road to All In.
Yeah, Double or Nothing to All In is kind of that.
Yeah, that stretch.
Similar stretch, yeah.
So I'm loving it, and even TNA is getting some stuff right again, in my opinion. So
good for them. They'll never die.
May they never die. But enjoy wrestling, guys, because I am right now. I'm loving what I'm watching. I love tonight. I'm excited for next week, and I hope everybody's having a good time watching something.
Yeah, I've done 3 shows in 5 days, so
Spider-Man.
Yeah, and hey, look, I think most of what I covered was really, really good, and even just in the past 7 days, I've done 4 shows in the last 7 days. Like you said, last week's Dynamite was really good. One of the 2 nights of wrestling was good, but we had a good main event night 1. I will say that. Yep. And then a solid Monday Night Raw, and we come back here again with another good Dynamite. We're eating good as wrestling fans right now, as you would like to say, James. So
hell yeah,
don't bitch, just enjoy everything,
or enjoy what you like.
Yeah, as I always like to say, there's the buffet. You don't got to eat all of it. Yep. Take what you like, and don't shit on the other people who, might like the crab rangoon when you don't. Sorry, I was thinking about this whole extended Chinese buffet metaphor last night, and crab rangoon was just a thing that happened to pop in my head.
whatever floats your boat.
Yeah. Asking, I don't keep up with WWE. Wasn't it Cena last match night too? That was last year. This year was Roman versus Punk. Yeah, which closed it. And it was phenomenal. It really, really was. I think it was the match of the weekend, and definitely one of the 2 matches I thought was like, okay, this is a WrestleMania match.
Yeah.
Maybe one of the 3 matches. Maria's also bringing up, Jacob versus Roman at Backlash looks like it's going to slap as well.
Yeah.
Because the bloodline will never die. We're still in the 3rd inning.
Don't worry, Zilla's coming.
Yeah, okay. We'll see. We'll see. All right. On that note, I would like to thank everyone so much for watching us here at the Markdown Podcast. We appreciate it if you like and subscribe. If you like the video, let us know that you're enjoying what we're doing here on the show, and we can keep going with it. And you should subscribe and get all the great stuff here on the channel. James will most likely have a Gym Pack Zone tomorrow for you TNA fans.
Yep.
Awesome. We'll see what goes on with Monday night. We're all pretty exhausted from WrestleMania, which is why we didn't cover it. But occasionally, maybe Matt or somebody will hop on and cover a big Monday Night Raw. And then obviously we'll be back here next week for Wednesday Night Dynamite as well. Also, quick side note, shout out to NXT last night. It was also really good.
Yep.
That casket match apparently slapped. And I really hope Sol Ruka's okay.
Oh, Jesus, her head.
Oh.
Somebody pointed out something funny. As of right now, canonically, both Mariah May and Toni Storm are dead.
Yep. Even though I think Mariah hasn't shown up on TV yet, so or on main roster TV.
Yeah.
And then Mariah, because not technically Mariah May has been dead for a while, and now Blake Monroe is dead, and Toni Storm is dead.
Yep. What a life! What a world!
Yep. I almost forgot where I was going with this. Yeah, we'll be back here Wednesday for Dynamite next week, because as we keep saying, we really got to see what happens. If you want to check us out on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Blue Sky, links are in the description below here on YouTube. If you're watching on Facebook or on Twitter and want to check us out in some other places, Twitter's at marketdown_pod. Instagram is at marketdownpod, youtube.com/@marketdownpod or /marketdown3665. marketdownpod.bsky.social if you want to hang out with me over there, because that's my domain, because I hate Twitter now. But check all those out. As I always say, Matt's doing good work on Instagram. He got a lot of stuff from the weekend, so go look at that, some of that stuff as well. Before we go, Maria said, awesome stream. Thank you. We appreciate it. Just reminding everyone, seeing his last match was awesome. Not the one at last year at WrestleMania, but the SummerSlam match was great. And Maria
Well,
calling.
I think he's saying the Saturday night's main event match.
Oh, that was also good. Yeah,
I
it was
disagree.
pretty good. I thought the match was good. The ending wasn't.
Okay.
Maria saying Sol Ruca is the future GOAT of the WWE Women's Division.
Time will tell. She's got all the tools.
She really does, especially when it comes to making her own gear.
Yep.
All right.
She does have those tools too. Yeah.
Yeah, I always say the video of her making her Royal Rumble gear is awesome.
Yeah.
Because that gear was awesome. But anything else before we go?
Love you.
Mean it. All right. So for James Asante, my name is Rick Cummings. Thank you so much for watching us here at the Mark It Down Podcast. Shout out Katie Nolan for that one. Have a good one, everyone.